Give me an example of like something you had to drastically change about yourself to become a wife.
This tongue of mine. Communication is actually the number one reason why couples break up, why they divorce. It's not infidelity, it's not finances. If you go back to the core root, 60%, it's the lack of effective communication.
What's going on, family? David Shands. I want to give you a special invitation to the Morning Meetup, themorningmeetup.com. It is the only organization that gathers every single morning, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we help you learn entrepreneurship, grow as an entrepreneur, become an entrepreneur, or you just get to be in an environment, a network of all entrepreneurs. Literally hundreds of entrepreneurs gather on a Zoom call every single morning, Monday through Friday, okay? So I want to give you a special invitation to help grow your business and your brand all this year, okay? Every single day. You eat every day for your health. You brush your teeth every day for your hygiene. I need you to learn and grow every single day for your mindset, okay? So make sure you go to themorningmeetup.com. It is only $1 trial. You don't need a promo code. Just go $1, themorningmeetup.com. Check it out. If you like us, stay. If not, after that, it's $79 a month. But I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy yourself, okay? So go to themorningmeetup.com. I love y'all. See you in the morning.
The Social Proof Podcast. Streaming now on all platforms.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, where we find people who have built stuff, who are proficient in their craft. And I think this is like a special episode.
Yeah.
Okay? We're going to teach you today how to be the person that can build a successful life.
Which is good.
A beautiful relationship.
A beautiful relationship.
And but we gotta go through a few because there are layers to this LB thing.
Of course.
So go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're gonna jump straight into it.
Yeah, well, I am LB, the wife coach on Instagram. I created the only online masterclass that's changing married women, talking about levels, into happy, successful, and irresistible wives. I'm a firm believer that all married women aren't wives. I like to say that twice.
One more time, just bring it back.
All married women aren't wives. So my whole goal as a wife coach is to help women to know the difference so they can be the difference, because you'll see the difference in your relationship. I mean, it's a huge difference between a happy relationship and an unhappy one. Don't you agree?
All right, absolutely. So tell me the difference between a married woman and a wife. What qualifies a married woman to be a wife?
I love that. So everybody gets married. You know, that's normally the next step in your relationship, right? But when it comes to being a wife, that's an assignment. Like I tell my wives to do your work, because being a wife is an assignment. The good word says a man that finds a
wife,
not a girlfriend, not a married woman, not a boo thing, not a side chick, right? Finds a good thing. And so I teach women how to tap into that power of influence. I mean, a wife just shows up differently how she talks to her man. You know, a married woman might be real sarcastic. I call her Mrs. Sarcastic. She might be real Mrs. Know-it-all, you know, but as a wife, I teach them how to communicate their feelings without being all up in their feelings, how to, you know, communicate their needs without being needy. So it's really a difference. It's really how you want to show up in your relationship. What kind of response you want from your man. And that basically depends on who you show up as.
Were you always a wife?
No, that's how I knew there was a difference. Because I showed up as Kia. You know, I'm a Gemini, so I got like 15 personalities. I showed up as Kia, Lakia, Shantae, whatever I wanted to be. And I just didn't know how to talk to my husband of 11 years, my boo, my bae. My baby daddy. Shout out to Derek.
I love it.
Yeah, he put up with a lot. But a lot of it came from how I grew up. You know, seeing how my parents interacted with each other, seeing how they talked to each other. A lot of it was cussing and fussing and never really communicating, just talking at each other. So, of course, I adopted those same ways and thinking that's how you handle business. That's how you handle, you know, when you got something on your chest, you let it out. When you got something on your mind, you speak it. But I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And it was causing a lot of friction, a lot of energy that wasn't the best. And so when I made that change and realized that, okay, you got to own your ish.
Yeah.
That's your issues.
100%.
Yeah, I had to own my ish and start making changes that I wanted to see. And when I started approaching my man differently, you know, really turning on that feminine power, you know, taming my tongue, That's when I started getting the results. Yeah.
It's easier to tame a tiger. It's easier to tame a cat.
That little thing in your mouth is powerful. So I think it's just so important because a lot of women don't realize it's just little things you need to tweak to really start seeing, just a good vibe between you and your boo.
We are going to get into all of those strategies. Yeah. But I want to paint a picture, at least from when I knew you.
Yeah.
Of your journey of becoming, this entrepreneurial woman. So did it start out when I met you with publishing?
No, I actually started as a classroom teacher. I taught middle school language arts for 5 years.
Really?
Thought I was going to retire in education. Like I went back, got my master's in educational leadership, really thought I was going to climb up the ladder and just said, you know what, there has to be more to life than this. My relationship at the time with Derek, we had gone through this very interesting process of getting married. We spent a year in premarital education and training when most folks are spending that year planning their wedding. We were planning our marriage. And so a lot of my friends were seeing that. And they're like, okay, well, why don't you write a book?
I don't want them to miss that. I don't want them to, you spent time planning your marriage.
Yeah, because see, I was going to be the girl who got married because that's what you do next. Like you go together, you plan this life together, and then you get married. But my husband, who had more sense than I did at the time, was like, we don't know what we're doing. Like, let's just be real honest. We don't have any successful relationships to model after us. Why don't we really figure this thing out? Like Derek and I almost made it to the altar. I always say he jilted me because we had everything planned out. But he was like, no, baby, let's really do this the right way. So we found a chaplain. He took us to the classroom, sat us down. My little townhouse became my school. And we started going to work every week, meeting. This is what a wife is. This is what a husband is. This is what marriage is, And we broke up like 10 times. We broke up like 10 times because we were really doing that. That first year they say is the hardest? That was our hard year.
Really?
Really, because we had been together for 10 years, off and on for 10 years. We got history, you hear me? I met Derek, I was 19. He was 20. So we had some history that we had to really pretty much unpack to figure out, okay, now y'all going to this next level in your relationship. What is it going to take to get there and to be successful? So yes, we planned our marriage. And so when most people were planning that wedding, spending all that money, we were like, why are we doing that? Yeah. We end up having a destination wedding in Jamaica.
I heard that.
Yeah, man. I'm Jamaican. But yeah, so it started there. It started with me being in a classroom. My good friend said, you know what, you need to tell people I've always been a writer. You need to tell people your story. Write a book. I'm like, write a book? So I wrote my first book.
What was it called?
Picture Perfect. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But together, we're picture perfect.
I love it.
I started there, and then I started my publishing company in order to really get my self-published book out. And from there, people started asking, how did you write your book? What did you do? And I said, I could start a business.
And that's how it started.
That's
you
really
wrote
how
your
it
book,
started.
and then
I wrote my book and started helping.
Started
a whole publishing company. One, because I didn't want somebody trying to change, or take ownership of my story. I really wanted to own it, and I wanted it to go the way I wanted it to. So like from marketing and everything. So I published my own book, started my own publishing company just for that reason.
Wow.
No other reason than that, thinking I was going to be touring the world as an author. And then next thing you know, people are asking me, how do you write a book? And so I started helping other people tell their story. Who knew that was actually going to allow me to open up the doors as the wife coach? But I started off with publishing.
Right. So while you're a teacher, you write your book. How did your book do?
Okay. In what sense?
Like, how did it sell?
Not well, because I knew nothing. 2011, I'm in the classroom. I had this amazing book release party. Yes, Derek and I were married a year and a half.
Gotcha.
I had this amazing book release party, such a great response. I think I sold like maybe $800 worth of books, but that's family and friends, right?
For sure.
So that was like the false narrative, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be really successful, and then crickets. The sales stopped. I had no marketing strategy. It was just crazy how I really thought I could walk away from teaching with no plan. I had no real plan. Like I went to my husband, who was an entrepreneur, has always been an entrepreneur, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he supported it. He was like, okay, but I need you to understand one thing. It takes 15 years to become an overnight success story. And I cussed him out. I did.
Really?
I sure did. Because like, how you gonna tell me what God got planned for me? How you gonna tell me this vision board ain't gonna come to life? But he was just sitting back letting me know, I know you don't want to hear that, but now how many years later? 8 years later. Oh, okay, I see what you was talking about. So it really wasn't my initial goal to be an entrepreneur. I just knew that my book was gonna be the passport that I needed to kind of get out there. And that's what started it.
And I guess so people are just curious on how'd you start your book, and you're like, well, I can write it for you.
Yeah.
Or I can publish it.
Pretty much. I could help started book coaching, just trying to find my way through it. First it was, okay, do I want to be a publisher? Do I want to be a book coach? Do I want to edit? My strength is in editing. And I would connect with some dope designers. So that's why when you came to me, I'm like, I got the plug.
Did my second book. It was amazing.
I got the plug. I can show you who you need to be with. But as far as me really wanting to be successful in that.
Right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I made sure I muted mine. You wasn't gonna be looking at me crazy.
You could just close the whole laptop. I appreciate that. It's been a long day.
No, you good, brother. You good.
All right. So you had no intention on being an entrepreneur, but so when you start this publishing company, how long between when you dropped your book and you quit your job?
Okay, so I wrote my book in 2010. I dropped it in 2011. I was signing my papers. I ain't coming back in 2012. Because I really thought I had a little savings, a little cushion, just a little cushion. But one thing I didn't know, again, was the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Yes, definitely.
I was still living my lifestyle like I was getting a guaranteed check every month. Yeah. So I'm still getting my hair done, still getting my nails done. I'm out here in these streets. I'm an entrepreneur. It sound good. It sound real fancy. Until that money started drying up. And my husband looking at me like, so what you gonna do? Like it really, that's when I had to know, okay, this publishing thing is gonna have to be my 9 to 5. I'm gonna have to work this until I really understand which direction I wanna go. Thought I was gonna be in that for the long haul, but deep down inside, I wanted to help wives. And I started promoting, really just reaching out to different people on Google, and I came across the Single Wives Club. You may know her. Her name was Coriel DeBose.
Yes, Coriel.
And that was in 2013. And I sent her my book in August and told her I was very interested. I loved her mission and it aligned with what I was trying to do, helping women to become wives. And it was crickets. Yeah, Coriel. She didn't email me back. She didn't call me. She didn't do anything. And so I forgot all about it. But January of 2012 is when I reached out to her. 2013, she called back and said, I'm having a meeting. I want you to come out and I want you to speak. And from that point on, she and I developed a relationship. She wanted me to be over her wives society, which was a mentoring program for women who wanted to become wives. She put me as the director, and it started from there. So I was still publishing though, because initially I wasn't making any money as the wife coach. And I think people need to understand that. Like, it sounds good. I had more followers on that page, but I was making more money in publishing. So it was really hard to make that transition until I figured out what kind of lane am I going to create for me that's going to be my niche, that's going to help me look different than all these other million trillions of relationship coaches, marriage coaches, wife coaches. What's going to make me different? So I went back to the basics, which was being a teacher. That's my foundation.
You went back to teaching?
No, I went back to the basics and me figuring out how am I going to monetize.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm a teacher by heart. So what is it that these women need? They need to be taught. How to what? Be a wife. It's that simple.
But you made good money publishing.
I made pretty good money, but the taxing, y'all don't understand. Let me tell you something. You gotta love reading. I liked reading. I'm used to reading essays every day. I like editing. I still edit from time to time. I mean, I'm very, very particular on who I choose, but because the majority of my time goes into the wife coach. But I did make good money, but I wasn't fulfilled. Yeah. I knew that was a starting ground. That was like my startup, but I have to figure out how to make the wife coach work.
Gotcha. So we're transitioning out of publishing, and I felt it because I think I wanted you to do another job or something like that. He's like, nope. I was like, yo, but LB, nope. Hey, I just got to, nope, I'm not doing it.
I'm telling you.
And I said, but you are the GOAT.
I was proud of myself too. No, but I mean, I knew my homegirl Jasmine was in publishing. I was just really sending folks. She's sending folks to me. I'm sending folks to her. I really wanted to figure out how can I be the wife coach and be successful at it. So yeah, I had to just turn down those jobs. And it was hard to do that because I'm saying no to money, you know, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. So I had to figure it out.
So when did you full-fledged, I'm the wife coach, I'm owning that.
Yeah.
No more writing, booking books, stuff like that?
Yeah. So I reached out to my good friend Jasmine Womack, and she's a business coach. She's also a publisher. And yes, big shout out. And I told her, look, I need to figure this out. Like, what do I need to do in order? Because she's like, LB, you sitting on 2 books. You got your content right there. You got your curriculum right there. Let me show you how to make this into a masterclass. So spent the VIP day with her. We went ahead and mapped out my 6-week masterclass. That was in, I want to say, 2018. And I remember even speaking to you even here at the complex. And I was saying some of the goals or some of the things that I learned in business was I was working so hard in my business that I couldn't work on it. So she taught me how to work on my business. And that's when I put myself in position to start that masterclass. Created the first one, January 2019, sold out. Every time I have a masterclass, I sell out. And I only do it quarterly on purpose because I build up the anticipation. These wives be knocking down that DM, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, LB, when the next class? My man about to leave me. And I'm like, you better read these posts. But yeah, so I really started just really honing in. I trademarked the wife coach, so I am the one and only.
Nice.
The wife coach. There's a lot of wife coaches out there, but only one, the wife coach. But yeah, and I just feel very fulfilled and satisfied. One, because I'm helping women to step into their power. I'm not telling you have to be a voiceless woman that your man just walks over. No, y'all can work together. Like, my marriage is my business. At the end of the day, the wife coach is my business, but my marriage is first. And I'm teaching women how to play their position. Like, my husband sees our marriage as business. And we come together and we talk about it. Like, what position are you playing? What position am I playing? Do you like the role you're playing? Am I fulfilling the needs or the responsibilities? Are you okay with that, him looking at the marriage as a business? Not at all. I'm okay with it. Yes, absolutely. I have no problem with it because I look at it as we go into business to profit. Think about how much energy you put into your business in order for it to be successful. Marriage is sort of like a contract too. I mean, we want to get real technical with it, but we do have the romantic side of it, and we make sure we don't make it just all about business. Sure. But you got to take care of it. You got to look at, you know what, this ain't adding up. Like, we in the red this month. Why we ain't having no date nights? What's going on with these cheering?
We in the
I got
red.
2 of them.
And I love that. Yo, so so your husband actually said something to me that I would never repeat to my wife, because I don't think she would take it the way he said it. So what he said was, we were talking about like a friendship, and he said, my wife is not my best friend. He said, I have best friends. Like, we go kick it, we play football, stuff like that. And he said, if I tell my wife that she's my best friend, it creates a different level of expectation. Then there's like comparison between, oh, you do this with your best friend, and then why not that? And he's like, yo, I tell her straight up, you are not my best friend. I can't say that to my wife because she would punch me.
And I cussed him out when he told me that. But let me tell you why. Because I had that expectation. I thought my husband was supposed to be my everything. So I put this pressure on him to be my best friend, be my lover, be my everything I want. I go to you. He's a human being. Like, yes, you're my spouse, but at the same time, my sister, my best friend. When I really think about it, it sounds cute to say my husband is my best friend. And I'm not saying couples aren't best friends. There are some out here, but don't put that unrealistic expectation or unnecessary pressure on him playing that role when he don't have to. Y'all can be the best of friends, but at first position, he's your husband. She's your wife. So yeah, I mean, once I realized that and I started understanding, I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right, Derek. I just wanted it to sound good. I'm married to my best friend. Y'all been dating 6 months. I'm marrying my best friend. How? How are you marrying your best friend after 6 months? But okay. I mean, you know, it is.
I'm gonna figure out a way to say it and explain it.
So you must feel that way. Wait. You feel that way.
I don't feel like we're best friends. I feel like
there's nothing wrong with that.
And I can't uphold that. You feel me? Like, I can't.
So she expects you to be her best friend.
Maybe. I don't know. When he said it, I was like, that's something I can't say. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm not giving her a bit of a. She might be okay with it. Like, yo, you know what? You're right.
Right. She may have her own best friend, but have that conversation because that's where the expectations and unrealistic expectations come in.
Okay. So when you get on this journey of becoming, because you had to become this. This wife, right? Tell me about your journey of becoming a wife.
It took a lot of self-reflection. I had to go all the way back to Hyattsville, Maryland. I'm from Hyattsville, Maryland, in the household with Ruth and Thomas. my first example of marriage. When I really started understanding why I act the way I act, why I do what I do, why I say the things I say, I had to go back to where I saw it. And why was that following me 20, 30 years later? When I started really owning, and when I say own my ish, that means being accountable for my responses, my actions. I had to grow up. One thing about marriage will mature you or it will expose the immaturity in you. I was very immature.
Hold on. Say it one more time.
Marriage will mature you.
In my spirit.
Yes, marriage will mature you or it will expose the immaturity in you. So there's a lot of immaturity that was playing in my part from me not getting my way, how I was going to react. If my husband said something, am I going to try to say something back to hit him below the belt and hurt him? Where are those things coming from? So I had to do a lot, because a lot of that pain will push your partner away. So I was dealing with pain. I was dealing with daddy issues. I was dealing with so much and didn't even realize it. That's why that year of premarital education and training was so key, because we were uncovering all that, uprooting all that, because it's going to show up in your marriage. So that's the process of becoming. Marriage is about becoming. I'm still becoming. I haven't arrived. I'm 11 years in, but I do pretty good. But I'm still learning LB. LB is still evolving, just like your marriage should evolve over the years. So I am becoming, and as I'm becoming and uncovering, I'm sharing it with my wives. I have women in my classes who've been married 25 years. And they say, LB, I've been a married woman for 25 years. Do you know how miserable that is? There's power in being a married woman, but she real miserable because she's just always finding something wrong. She's always nagging. She's just so many different things. You know them. You know them women. I know you do.
I see one. Not my boo, but I see a couple.
I got her though. You need to send it to me. Just send it to me. But no, I'm serious. It really is how you want to show up. And you can kind of see it in a relationship. You can tell when they're complimenting each other. You can tell when they're not perfect. There's no perfect relationship out here. But my goal is for you to really understand who you are and choose to be her. So you can choose to, you know what? I'm going to pick my peace, not my battles. I'm not going to respond to everything he says, or he's not going to respond to everything I say, because everything doesn't need a response. If I thought it, doesn't mean I need to say it, especially if it's coming from a negative place. I would think some crazy stuff and be like, don't say that. don't say that. But before I learn how to, tame that tongue, it would just come out.
Especially when saying this might win the war. You know what I'm saying?
And that's when you start realizing again, who are we fighting together, or are we fighting each other? Are we going to fight the issue? That's maturity. I grew up, y'all. I grew up a little bit, just a little.
Give me an example of like something you had to drastically change about yourself to become a wife.
This tongue of mine. Communication is actually the number one reason why couples break up, why they divorce. It's not infidelity, it's not finances. If you go back to the core root, 60% is the lack of effective communication. So me not knowing how to talk, my husband has actually told me before, you don't know how to talk to me. Ooh, that ain't feel good. That ain't feel good. And either I was gonna get defensive, which I have plenty of times before. I ain't mean it like that. I mean, it ain't my fault you taking it like that. I ain't mean it like that. Or am I gonna sit back and say, if he keep telling me that I come off wrong, why not look at why I'm saying what I'm saying and how it's coming out? So I started really just saying, don't say it. I had to start there. Like, don't say it. Where's that coming from? Why are you mad? Like, I would have these little conversations. I told you I'm a Gemini. I got about 12 personalities. Girl, don't say that. I would want to say certain things that I knew would hit below the belt. But why do you want to hurt the man you say you love? See, that took me really just say, yeah, you shake your head. You know what I'm saying? Why would you really want to cause more strife when this can be a situation where y'all can mend wounds? Instead of me being vulnerable, I build walls because I don't want you to see the real me. So I had to really that had nothing to do with Derek. And that's why I'm saying with my wives, a lot of the stuff, sometimes it's not him. It's you, boo. You got to deal with your ish. Like, why are you still holding on to past hurts? So if that means counseling, if that means therapy, I've had mentors. I've had women who have been married much longer than I have that I've been able to be coached by. That has helped me to really do some introspection and kind of say, you know what? I'm wrong. Yeah. I'm wrong.
So what about the women that need to be that come into your program and you realize, yo, you know what? You are an amazing wife. He's a jerk.
Ooh, that's a good one, because that has happened. I always go back to, okay, has he always been like this? Because I always want to know if you saw the signs and you still proceeded. Because now I got to deal with you. Who I'm dealing with. I still have to deal with you. Was he always like this? Well, I mean, not really, and that's sometimes most of the cases where they have married a man expecting him to change, or they thought that they could change him. Because women, we got that power of the P. That's position. I don't know where y'all mind went. Right. I was talking position as a wife. But we got that power. And so I think a lot of times they feel that they can change him. But when they do find themselves married to a man who is not acting husband-like, I always say discern the seasons, because just because he's acting, not so great or not being his best does not mean that that season won't change. It can be so much going on. We are in this thing for life. Like, I'm not gonna always be my best. So I need my husband to extend grace, right? But if it's one of them cases where you can't live with it, get help. Get professional help. If counseling doesn't help, get it for yourself. And find out how you need to work yourself through this season of your marriage, because seasons change, people change, situations change, but you got to see what you're willing to deal with or put up with. I mean, I can't tell a woman to leave unless it's addiction.
That was my question. Have you ever told a woman?
Unless it's addiction, abuse of any of those kind of things, then I'll say, look, you know what you got to do. But in cases where it can be worked out, and a lot of the women come to me with situations that are fixable. But do you feel like doing the work? I can't do the work for you. You have to be willing to say, you know what? I have to forgive myself and him. Do I want to do that? This is your life. I'm an advocate for marriage, but let me tell you something. Divorce sometimes is the best present for some of these people because they shouldn't have been together in the first place. Just to be honest. I know we be trying to force that thing to work, but you can't force a square, what is it? A square peg in a circle? There you go. So we can't do that. Yeah.
Can you walk me through, maybe, I'm sure you went through some, you've helped some women who are in abusive relationships.
Yeah.
Why do they stay? So
whenever I find someone in any type of abuse, not just physical, but mental, emotional, I think one is fear based on what they're saying. They feel that it doesn't happen all the time. So my mother was in an abusive relationship. I'm a child of watching my mother and my father go at it. My father physically and mentally abusing my mother. So she stayed for the kids. He wasn't always that way. She would always tell us that, but that's all I can remember about him. So a lot of the times it's fear, and they don't know what the next move is. They don't want a failed marriage. I'm like, okay, but
would you hold on to a marriage so tight that you lose your life?
Many women have, absolutely. And so that's again where, no, I need you to choose you first. Because if he's dealing with addiction, as somebody whose husband was addicted to gambling, that's an addiction. No, he's not lashing out at her and things like that, but that's still an addiction. So you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna pray on it. No, he needs professional help. Pray and get help. And if he's not going to get help, you get help to figure out how you need to transition if you need to leave. So I always tell them, I present them with the scenarios, but I never say leave unless I know it's physical, mental, emotional abuse. I'm like, no, you can't stay in that. That's not healthy. It's not a healthy situation. It's toxic. But most of the times, thank God, the women that I get are in fixable situations. Gotcha. They just don't know how to be the wife to that husband.
Share with me a fixable situation, in what the fix was.
So breakdown in communication, lack of finances or management, financial management.
So you teach them go make more money, or
So here's the thing. I teach them how to, one, know your relationship with money. So I had to figure out, when I had a relationship with money, I lied on my money, I cheated on my money, I abused my money. So if money were a person, how did you treat it? And now that's going to help you understand how you're showing up in your marriage or your relationship. So in this case, I wasn't the best with money. My husband was better. I ain't like that. I felt like I had the secure job, I had my little savings, but I wasn't the best with managing money or taking risk like Derek was.
So you weren't the best with money.
No.
He was better with money, and you didn't like the fact. So it's that pride.
That's ego and pride. Absolutely. Why would I want him to be better with money in my marriage? Look, in my marriage. See, that was the attitude. Instead of looking at it as we can help each other. We should be doing better together, but that took maturity. And so that's a fixable situation. Just even with kids, like getting on the same page. Marriage is about becoming, right? So you're becoming who you need to be for your spouse over time. And it's not going to happen overnight. A lot of times we expect our marriages to be in year 15 when we just started in year 2. We're expecting our communication to be up to par when we haven't been through enough to figure out communication styles. Triggers. Yeah.
Walk me through triggers.
Anytime somebody, if I said bills, right now, how that make you feel? Right. Do you get excited or does that make you feel hot inside? If I say expenses, you might have a different kind of like, it's a different connotation attached to it. So certain words, I might say, well, you act like your mother or you act like your father. Those are triggers, things that you know are going to hurt or kind of stir up the emotions inside your spouse. Why would you do those things? Because you want a reaction. You want to be in control. See, a married woman wants to be controlling. She's Mrs. Controlling. She wants to control everything, how he moves, how things are done. I just posted something on Instagram saying, it's going to be really hard for your man to control you if you're Mrs. Controlling. Like, how is he going to control the situation? How is he going to be the leader if you're constantly stepping on his toes and trying to do it your way? Because you're Mrs. My Way or the highway.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Do you ever, that must be a tough thing to coach, though, because if you're controlling in your marriage, you're probably a controlling person.
Absolutely.
And how do you break through and get them to realize, especially if they're just used to, because in their head, they're thinking, well, no, I got to control this situation.
Absolutely.
No, I got to control. Like, how do you coach
Because
that?
a lot of women are independent. We're raised. I was raised to be an independent woman. You don't need a man. That's how I was raised. Yeah. You can do all this by yourself. So now you're taking that mindset that needs to be changed. Okay, do you want to change? I do. I'm just tired of fighting. Okay, well, wait a minute. Why do you not want him to be in control? What's your fear? I always say that. There's a fear. Because, I don't want everything. I don't want Ish to hit the fan. That's what somebody told me. I don't want it to hit the fan. What's so wrong with Ish hitting the fan? What if there's a real powerful lesson in things going wrong so that he can get it right? Like, how can he be put in position to lead if you don't give him a chance to? Wow. Everything's not going to happen the way you think it should. You can't be in control of everything. Are you happy? Are you full of anxiety? You want to release those things? And she's like, yeah. Okay, well then let's start by letting him lead a little bit. Like, step back and don't say anything. Allow him to make the decision. Not saying you have to be mute on everything. My husband allows me, not allows, but we're a partnership. So I'm a part of a lot of decisions that he makes, but sometimes I can't see Derek's way of thinking. I just can't get it. And I'm like, look, this man loves his family. Everything he does is for his family. If he makes a move, it's for us to win. If we don't win, we will get it on the next round. There's a lesson in there that we're going to get out of it. So that's what I try to help these women say. You chose him. Let's go back to that. You the one that chose him. So if you knew that he couldn't be the leader you needed, then why did you say, I do? Boo. Right. So I always get back on them and their decision, because that's the only person you can really change and own. Your actions, you're the person. Yeah. So I focus on you. I'm not going to necessarily focus on him, not that he doesn't have any responsibility, but I need you to look at the situation a little differently. If you're tired, if you're exhausted, maybe you're taking on too much. Have you not thought about relinquishing some of that, delegating some of that, and allowing yourself to be more at peace? So that takes time. It's not like I can just tell him that. I have to give him a little bit of time, just a little bit. Okay, you know what, tomorrow, let him dress your daughter and you don't say nothing about what he chooses. And if she walks out the house with polka dots and red socks, it's okay. Women are very controlling about stuff up into details like that. Like, no, she can't walk out the house with no gold slippers on. Yes, she can. She gonna be all right, and you gonna be all right too. Right. So you're teaching, like, just relinquish. It's not that serious. Like, even if in your head you're thinking that's not right, that shouldn't be. She looks crazy. Just let it go. Let it go for the sake of the marriage. For the sake of the marriage, for the sake of your sanity. It's not that, like, really focus on the things that you need to focus on. And I've had to learn that too, because I was a control freak. I still can be a little controlling, but washing the dishes the way I want to wash. Like, little stuff. Like, you are going to run this man crazy. He ain't going to want to do nothing for you, because if you going to do it, then do it. If you going to tell me how to do it, then you might as well do it. I've had to learn to just walk away. If he going to cook, okay, I'm going to go upstairs. That's how I control the situation.
Right.
Let me go upstairs and do something else.
Right.
So he can have at it in the kitchen because he'll have food everywhere, dishes everywhere, you know. I like to cook and wash dishes. You know, I have my way of doing things, and then Derek has his. So I've had to learn to appreciate that. Stop trying to change everything to fit my model or my mode of what I think marriage is supposed to look like. This is his marriage too.
I got a good question too, and thank God I don't deal with this. There are some women who just, I don't know, for some reason they just don't want to be intimate. Maybe they just don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy,
Sex?
they don't enjoy sex, right?
Really?
I mean, I know some friends where it's always like a negotiation to try. You got to creep up to it. You got to be nice the whole day because you know at the end of the day, and you know, I guess typically women aren't as sexually driven. You know what I mean? Like, do you ever coach someone that's like that? Like, I just don't want to. I just don't want to do it.
We are going into week 5, and week 5 is how to be intimate with them. Great question. I think honestly, women have to first be sexual within themselves. Like, I have to exude sexuality if I want to be intimate with my man. It's not just on him. Like, y'all want us to initiate sex too, but it goes back to what's her relationship with sex. Like, sometimes there's trauma there. Sometimes she's been having sex for a long time, or maybe a lot of my women were taught that sex was bad for so long that now you're married and the bed is undefiled and they don't know how to have sex and really be intimate with so they're kind of embarrassed. It's like, I'm a grown woman, I don't know how to have sex, what's going on? So I think it goes back to them tapping into their sexuality. I teach women to really understand what foreplay is and how that has nothing really to do with being in the bedroom. It's everything outside. Like, from how y'all talk to each other. See, that's where intimacy starts. Intimacy is drawing him closer, him drawing you closer to where y'all want to be physically, Foreplay is really where it's at. Sexual, sex is just the physical act. You really want to start acting foreplay out from how y'all talk to each other to little stuff, touching each other, riding in the car, just really tuning into your feminine powers. I'm not sure why, again, that may be a problem in their relationship, but I say go back to where did that relationship with sex start? And sometimes, again, if I talk about sex, like this week, I'll talk about sex and I'll say certain things. I'm like, does this make you feel uncomfortable? And if it does, why? Like, where's your comfort level when it comes to sex? I think a lot of times that's a conversation you don't want to have with your spouse, but you got to be real. We're going to be together forever. Right. And sex is on the table. That's one of those things that need to happen. We gonna have to talk about it. How you like to do it? Right. Did you like how I did that last night? You ain't like that? You ain't like that? Okay, well, what part? Well, you want me to flip you over? Like, get comfortable, and that takes vulnerability. That takes really just being open and saying, you know what? I don't even know if I know how to twerk, baby. You want me to twerk? Like, that's a conversation you need to be able to have with your man. So that, to me, when you start getting comfortable talking about sex and really creating the sex life you want, that's when y'all will probably start having a little bit more of it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm saying, are there women that just don't? Because I dated years and years and years ago, and she had some trauma around sex, and she didn't necessarily like it, right? So for your spouses, and again, thank God I don't deal with that, because I can't even imagine being in a relationship where you can't.
Yeah. That's deeper than just let's have a conversation. Now let's go ahead and get some professional help.
Right. Yeah. So are you teaching them to be comfortable, or? I'm
teaching them to be comfortable, but for those who have the trauma or that's very uncomfortable, like I don't want to have sex, let's figure out what's going on. Because if you're married, that's sort of like a requirement. I mean, I can see if y'all 80 years old and y'all ain't doing it no more, but nah, if you're in your prime and he ready, you that's something your husband needs. You need that. You know what I'm saying? So what is it that's keeping you from going there comfortably? So I think that's more mental. It's everything starts with our minds. So she has to really turn on. If it's trauma, like I said, get professional help. But for that woman who's just maybe tired, who just lazy, nah, boo, we're gonna have to work on that. Like, what's keeping you? Have you been working out? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to keep your stamina up? Because if you feel good about yourself, if you feel sexy, then that attraction with your man it's going to be genuine, and it's going to be a little bit more stronger.
And how many weeks is your program?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah, man.
So can you take me through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Of course.
like the topics?
Absolutely. So week 1 is how to create a marriage mindset, because a lot of women get married with this fairy tale syndrome of what marriage is going to be. You heard of that before? You know what I'm saying? So really helping women to get rid of that fairy tale syndrome and creating a realistic mindset of what this thing called marriage is. Week 2, how to talk to him. All about taming your tongue. Understanding that communication is the number one reason why folks are splitting up, okay? Week 3 is how to love him the way he needs to be loved. Because sometimes we feel like, I'm a woman, I know how to love my man, but we don't really know what love means to them and what you would need in order to feel that from us. So we teach you how to love him. Week 4 is how to respect him. Yeah.
Love and respect different.
Right. Men want to be respected. Women want to be loved. But when we show y'all respect, y'all in turn show us love.
Oh,
Cash App, Life with LB. Cash App, Life with LB. So week 5 is how to respect him. Week 4. Week 5 is how to be intimate with him. So really, again, talking about sex, foreplay, things that we can do to spice up our sex life. And then week 6, how to live the happy wife life. What is that? We hear it all the time. Happy wife, happy life. What that really mean? And I really uncovered some stuff in that week, because it's not that. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with us.
Give me a few principles.
Yes. So basically, your man is not responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your happiness. The happy wife life is a myth. Yeah. Happy wife, happy life is a myth, because it's basically coming from the perspective of, if y'all do everything in y'all power to make us happy, this thing called marriage gonna work. This y'all marriage too. Yeah. You need to be happy too. See, I'm advocating for y'all. Like, this is for the men, for y'all to have just as much as a successful marriage as we have. But happiness, understanding that you have to tap into your happiness, do things that make you happy outside of your spouse. Yeah, he your BFF, but y'all ain't got to do everything together. Yeah. Like, let him breathe, boo. Let him go. Let him go. That is some of the best time when Derek and I are apart and we come back together. A loose rein will keep your marriage tight. Did you catch that?
A loose rein. I need a bar book, a quote book.
Baby, LB got him.
A loose rein will keep your marriage tight.
So I'm teaching my women how to tap into real happiness and what that looks like, how you exude happiness, not just with your man, in your life, with your kids. So teaching them how to really get back to what makes them genuinely happy outside of their spouse.
You've dealt with a lot of wives, right? Is there a common theme that you see amongst all of them that come to you, right? Yeah. There's a certain issue. And I guess you created the 6 for the
Those
themes,
are the pillars.
Right? Is there one thing that trips up a lot of wives overwhelmingly that, like, if you can fix this one area, you can create bliss?
It would have to be getting rid of the fairy tale syndrome, because we grow up, and I know I've been guilty of this. I've watched Love Jones how many times? I've watched Brown Sugar, The Notebook, and you really get wrapped, or you have no idea how much that has an impact on what you think your relationship is supposed to look like or feel. And then you get into this real relationship and you're like, wait a minute, what? Where are the butterflies? Wait a minute, his feasting, I don't like him today. What's going on? Why I feel this way? That's a fairy tale syndrome.
Where are the butterflies?
Where are the butterflies, right? And you little flutter.
Because I knew there was going to be some butterflies right here.
I just knew this man was going to sweep me off my feet, and we're going to live happily ever after. You notice the credits go up and it gets black.
Yeah.
No, that's where the work starts. So when we come into marriage understanding that this is work, and a lot of people don't like to hear that when it comes to marriage, because love is supposed to be easy. Like, I'm not supposed to have to do all this. You're just supposed to love me, I love you, you do whatever I say. And when that doesn't happen, I'm disappointed. I'm setting these unrealistic expectations. So I would always say that fairy tale syndrome, because I make them go back to their first example of marriage, whether that was TV, movies, your parents, nobody. Yeah. Where did you get this concept of marriage from? And 9 times out of 10, David, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. I have wives in my class right now. She's like, oh my God, I really thought I would have butterflies all the time. I really thought that I would look at him and just melt. Who told you that, sis? Wait, where you get that from?
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's getting that mind together and realizing that no, my marriage isn't perfect, but we are two imperfect people who are perfect for each other. So let's make this work for us.
I love
That's
it.
a mindset.
I love it.
Yeah.
What is your training regimen
Yeah.
in terms of being this person that's going to be taking on this heavy load? Because that's a heavy load. Like people come to me, maybe they're excited about their business and they just want to know what's next. So it's like, it's light, but they're coming to you saying, here's all my stuff.
Yeah.
What is your training regimen to prepare to be this wife coach?
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's why the class is quarterly, because I give my all to those women in that 6 weeks. I not only provide them with the group coaching, because it's a very small, intimate class. I want them to be able to open up. You know, a lot of people don't like to tell their ish. They don't like to tell their stuff. But I want to create a safe space so that can happen. But they also get to contact me personally. What are you dealing with personally that you didn't say in class? Because I want to be able to help these women walk through. Let me pinpoint what I think the issue is, and then let's see how this works. I have a woman right now who is hilarious. I mean, I love her personality, but one thing she'll say is, I be talking crazy to my man.
And she knows it.
And she knows it. Most of the time, they don't even know. Like, I didn't even think I
But
was.
she
I wasn't
know
aware.
it.
She knows
So
it.
what I'm about to say is crazy.
She's
but I'm saying it
deliberately.
anyway.
So it's like, okay, let's talk. In class, it's funny, but now let's talk one-on-one. And we talk one-on-one. What's really going on with you? And at the end of the day, it's unrealistic expectations she's had, unmet expectations. Her husband isn't meeting her expectations. So she uses that to lash out. That's how she feels like she's winning, by being able to cut him down with her words. So I use those 6 weeks is intense. And that's why I take a little vacation afterwards. But I'm also, for those women who are unable to work with me in the live setting, I've actually recorded the masterclass. Nice. So the masterclass will be available starting next year round, unless you want to work with me in that live class setting. Ain't nothing like being with me live, because we have a good time. But
so you take one-on-one clients?
No. The class is a small class of
Gotcha.
I have a small group, and then I have the masterclass that's going to be recorded. One-on-one, I've done that for a little bit, but that's very taxing.
I bet.
That's very taxing.
They call you at every argument, right?
It's very taxing. And I had to ask myself, what does success look like for me as the wife coach? Family is everything. Like I said, my marriage is my business. So y'all better make sure my marriage is going to be taken care of first before I go help somebody else's. Sure. So I make sure that time, freedom is there. And so, it just, during that 6 weeks, I'm all the way on. But then I take me a little break and get ready for the next quarter.
What about them little young wives? The little 19s,
they
the
so
little
cute.
20s.
Whole little tank. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. Whole little tank. I mean, again, it goes back to that mindset. A lot of them are young, getting into marriage with this fantasy. Yeah. And they're like, well, LB, even though I'm older, I'm 41.
Are you really?
You ain't know that, brother.
Okay.
41. And so I've been married, of course, 11 years, so I can use my experience to help them. But I feel I'm young and hip.
Yeah, for sure.
Look,
not when you say it like that, hip.
You gotta say hip, But no, so I feel like I can relate to them.
I thought you were younger than me, though, honestly. I'm 35.
No, I'm your big sister. But a lot of them do reach out and they say that they're following my post. So it's a lot of things I post on Instagram that women can relate to. I'm just speaking my truth. And you can relate to it. Oh, that's your pain point. Let me show you how to work through this at 20. I couldn't have gotten married at 20. 22, 23, 24. I didn't know who I was. So we would have been divorced in 6 months because I was still trying to figure out, who am I? What am I supposed to do with this life? Right. Why am I here? Why I go to school and get all this debt? So yeah.
Good. Well, I learned a lot. And here's the thing, like when you say some stuff, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get Dre to watch this. But outside of that, you teaching me things that a wife needs to do helps me as a husband understand that it's not, I guess, if a woman has certain expectations, maybe the husband coach comes and says, well, we need to at least identify what those expectations are and try to meet them, right? And if both of you are trying, then you have bliss. Well, I don't know if bliss exists. Bliss? Does bliss exist?
To me, it's like
marital
fantasy.
bliss. Bliss is a strong word.
We
What
say
does
it.
bliss mean?
Satisfaction. I think, contentment, fulfillment, meaningful. Like, you want a meaningful marriage.
I want to look up the word bliss.
I think that's fantasy. Because it's just like probably overly excitement. Sometimes during my anniversary, I would say there was bliss. Because we was on our best behavior, baby. We were having a really good time. And it just you felt euphoric, You felt like, oh, this is when we first met. But then, I ain't got that feeling right now.
Bliss is perfect happiness.
Yeah.
Great joy. Perfect happiness.
And who has a perfect relationship? Whose happiness is perfect?
Yeah, there's no perfect happiness. I think you have to identify what happiness is for you.
Exactly.
Right? And then get as close to that as possible.
That's it.
And it's a continued journey, right?
It's a continued journey. You will never arrive. It will constantly evolve, and you're evolving with it, hopefully. Hopefully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did your husband think you're an amazing wife?
I would say so, yes. I would.
And your husband's
you were
dope
about to
too.
say, come on now, Dave. You saw him. You saw us in action.
Yeah.
We're a pretty cool couple.
He's dope too.
Thank you.
He literally coached me at Coriel's event. Mm-hmm. He was coaching. And I'm like, yo, you are the husband coach, bro.
You would never know though, because he's so low key. Like, he's in the background.
And we was in a corner, on the low, under the music, like he's talking. I'm listening intently, and he's blowing my mind. And like, you to study. Oh, I think I asked you that question. How do you prepare? Like, what is your regimen? Do you read a lot of books? Do you watch a lot? Do you study this stuff?
Constantly. Always wanting to know what's going, like the trends, especially with this pandemic. All right, what's going on with relationships now? Because everybody was at the lawyer office whenever they could get out the house, because divorces went up like 33%.
No.
Yeah, because people are staying home with spouses they don't know. When you think about your day-to-day, you gone how many hours a day?
A lot.
And then you spending all your time with that person, you don't even know what they like, what they don't like, because they probably got husbands at work. You got your husband at work, you got your wife at work, So now you're home with this person. It's like, I don't really know you. We don't know how to talk to each other. We're spending all this quality time, but we got some real issues. That pandemic uncovered a lot of issues, which gave me a lot to research. Like, why are women calling it quits? Why are women at their wits' end? And it's more than just the marriage. The children are home now. Virtual learning. It was so much going on.
Yeah.
It, not just being home, it was so much going on at one time. And so, I study that. I have to stay abreast of what's going on in this whole relationship realm and what my women are constantly saying, which seems to be the same thing. That's why I'm like, how long I've been doing this and I keep hearing the same thing. So where can we start teaching this sooner? Mindset.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much, LB. I really appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you, brother.
Again, I've learned so much, and I'm gonna do a quick commercial. I need you to end us off with some bars, okay? I'm gonna do my commercial. Give you a second to think about it. Listen, y'all, this episode is sponsored, as always, by The Morning Meetup. The Morning Meetup. Did you know that there is a group of entrepreneurs that gather every single morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single morning, Monday through Friday, that learn, grow together. We talk about business. We talk about expectations. We talk about finances. Every month we have a specific theme, and there's literally over 200, 300 people that join every single morning. If you are an entrepreneur, you have an idea, you need to try us out. You need a community, a network of people who are winning together. You need a group of people that you can grow together, get to bounce your ideas, bounce experiences off of each other, okay?
Yeah.
And I am the host of that call every single morning. Yes, I'm on there every single morning, and we got my dope friends on there every single morning. Multi-millionaires. We got a billionaire that came on. All of my dope friends, they're teaching entrepreneurship. So go to themorningmeetup.com. I'm going to do something special for you. You can join for just $1 for the next 7 days. If you wanted to try us out, join for $1. If you love our community, just stay and grow, and we're going to build your business, okay? If you don't like our community in this first 7 days, just leave. No commitment, no contract. Make sure you join themorningmeetup.com. Okay, LB.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you, okay? I want to ask you, too, one more question. I like to make predictions on the podcast, okay? where do you see yourself, your business, your relationship, whatever, in the next 5 to 10 years, so that I can watch this 5 to 10 years from today, and I can say, oh, LB said she was going to be doing international retreats 5 years ago. So where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years?
Well, in 5 to 10 years, I see the masterclass, Teach Me How to Be a Wife, being licensed. I'm seeing it being, licensing. Are you familiar with Dave Ramsey?
Yes.
I'm following that model. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
Just stay tuned.
Let's go.
I'm going to use that education degree.
I love it.
So that's what I definitely see. And of course, me traveling, speaking, hosting workshops, just really getting wives to where they need to be in their relationships so that we can make this place called life a happier place. Yeah.
TV show? I see you on TV show.
Do you? I see you too.
I definitely see a TV. Like the Izana.
Yeah.
Fix Molly,
Yeah.
Like that, but
LB,
way better.
Yeah.
LB, Fix My Marriage.
Bet.
I like it.
I like it. Let's do it.
You might as well go get that domain, lbfixmymarriage.com.
It's mine. Thank you.
There it is.
Appreciate it.
All right, leave us off with some gems, man. Talk to that wife out there that she love that man.
Yeah.
But it ain't working. She don't want to let it go. She got kids.
Why I gotta talk to her? Like, you made it so depressing.
I don't know, because she's still here listening. Like, yo, LB is talking to me. Okay, let me. Yeah. Well, her and
you want me to talk directly to her, or you want me to
directly to her?
Okay.
Go on and say
so
something to her.
For that woman who knows that she is married to the right man, who might be finding herself in this season of things not working out, I need you to ask yourself one question and one question only. Who have I been showing up as? Am I showing up as that married woman, or am I showing up as that wife? And guess what? There is a difference. So you can make the choice and make the change to see and be the change you want to see in your relationship. So I encourage you to ask yourself that question. Have you been nagging? Have you been communicating the best way? Have you been showing him a lot of attitude? Have you been vindictive? All of those characteristics of the married woman, you want to make a change and be the wife. And I'm the one that's going to help you do that.
Tell people how to find you, LB.
You can find me on Instagram at The Wife Coach, and make sure you click that link in the bio. Grab that ebook that's called 7 Signs You're a Married Woman, Not a Wife.
There it is. Can't close it out no better than that. LB, thank you so much. Make sure you go follow LB. Jump in her DM too, and let her know you appreciate this interview, okay? Let her know you really, really helped if she helped, okay? So thank you so much for coming. And I need everybody out there to go get some social proof. Go build something. Go build a successful marriage and teach other people how to do it, okay? We are out of here. Love y'all. Peace.